Sorry, I missed last night's chat. I'm feeling a bit better, but I was feeling a bit poorly yesterday and sleepy, and I totally just fell asleep and left them, the other two. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. We did miss you, though.
And so today's chat is about Freebirth, and it's already ruffled a few feathers. Is that fair to say?
Definitely.
I'm just looking on our Facebook page on my phone to see if it's showing. Oh, it is. Oh, that's so strange. I can see myself. Yeah, okay. So should we just start with the questions?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the first
No,
one?
maybe we should introduce ourselves because people might not know who we are.
Oh, that's a good point. I'm Laurie. I am one of 3 doulas at Greater Manchester Doulas, and I'm too tired to add any more. Take it away, somebody else.
I'm Amy. I'm also a doula at Greater Manchester Doulas, and yeah, that's it. Sorry.
I'm Ellie.
The end.
Ellie's our mysterious. Ellie's the other doula, obviously. So I guess a good place to start is, what is Freebirth? Because not everybody knows.
Mm-hmm. So, Freebirth is birthing without any assistance from medical professionals. That's the basics of it. The definition.
For me, Freebirth is just birth. Like when we talk about birth, that's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is something else.
Yeah.
But Freebirth is birth. That's just how birth happens. It's how birth is.
That's such a good way to put it, because so often I think Freebirth is perceived as a very radical choice, when, as you said, it's just birthing in many ways how we would if we weren't living in the society that we are. It's how all other mammals birth, unless they're in captivity, obviously. So I guess that kind of leads into the next question of, why do women choose to free birth? But I imagine for many women, it isn't really a choice. It's just a given that that's what they will do, because it's, for them, it is just birth.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons why someone would choose to free birth. I mean, all across the world, like, so many people do, a lot of them because it is their only, like, it's all they know. That's their kind of social norm. And I mean, here, obviously, we have access to maternity care, and it's an option, it's a choice. People choose to opt out of it, and that's fine.
Yeah, and I think something that's come up recently over the last few days, when I've seen more and more posts of women who weren't previously considering free birth in the current climate suddenly looking at it as a viable option for them. This suggestion that that isn't an okay situation in which to choose free birth, because you're looking at it as a kind of last resort, rather than and a decision made out of fear. And I guess I don't really agree with that. I think that we can make decisions, we can be put into a position where we're fearful of something, and that's pushing us to make a decision that we might not have otherwise taken, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong one. Did that make any sense?
Because we see that with other options, and we just accept that to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's a case of making your decision based on the information that you have at that time.
Absolutely.
So it is going to change with the situation at the moment as well. Is the fact.
Yeah. So I imagine that there are lots of women out there right now who are not wanting to go into hospital, understandably, who are being told that their home birth service has been cut because there are staffing issues. And for those women, free birth is now the best option for them, and that is okay. And that's why we're here, to share all the information that we can about free birth and how you can prepare for one and what it means and what the legalities are.
There is, I mean, with the rising interest in free birth at the moment, just from recent comments, like there's so little information out there for women, and it's really difficult to find it. Like, it's a legal and completely fine option, but there's no information. So how are people supposed to make that decision? So hopefully we'll be able to answer some questions.
Yeah, and I think the legality is one bit of misinformation about free birth that is just shared so much. This idea that if you birth without a midwife, anyone who was there with you could be, well, firstly, that it's just illegal, which isn't true. It's perfectly legal to have a free birth. And then the next thing that I think I often hear is your partner or your doula or your friend or anybody who was there will be prosecuted if there's not a midwife present. And again, that's simply not true. The legalities around that are if someone acts in the role of a midwife, and that is very different to your partner being with you while you birth your baby.
Yeah, it's important that that point is stressed, because it is, like you say, it's so often misinformed and it's just thrown out there, and there's no one's giving us, evidence of it or references to it. It's just thrown around and it's not true. So yeah, very important point.
Thankfully, we have some questions already that have been put to us. That was the first one, I think. Is it legal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple answer there.
Will I be prosecuted? Will my birth partner be prosecuted? It's not about who's there, it's about what they do.
Yeah.
So you can have whomever there you want, but if they're pretending to be a midwife, that's when you get into trouble.
Yeah.
Doulas are not medically or clinically trained, so when we support free birth, it's not in a medical or a clinical capacity. We're there for emotional support. And yes, you can have a doula or a free birth if the doula is comfortable with that. Not a lot of doulas are comfortable with free birthing. But I think you've got to be, really, because you don't know if a midwife is going to arrive. You don't know if you're going to make it to the hospital. And your role is the same whether there is a midwife there or not. So it's not something I'm uncomfortable with at all.
Yeah, I think when, like as a doula, if you're confident that you will only make decisions about what you do or don't do in line with your role as a doula, then there is no reason why you wouldn't be okay and protected in supporting a woman to free birth. I think, and I think we're very clear. Like, I've been asked by a woman before, would you, I don't know, check my cervix, and I think we're very clear in our role that isn't something that we would ever do at a birth. That's not our role. That is stepping into the role of a clinical professional, and that isn't us. Oh, I can see that we've got some comments. Can you see them?
Oh, no.
Hi, Esme and Antonia.
Oh yeah, hello.
And Nikita.
Oh, it feels scary that people are watching now and we know it.
Esme and Antonia, I know. So hello.
Yeah, if
I mean,
midwives are implying that it's illegal, then it's code of conduct issue. Yeah, definitely.
we've
I've
heard that
seen,
today multiple times.
yeah.
I've heard it. Midwives have told me. I hear it all the time.
Next comment. What would you recommend to women who are worried about PPH, cord prolapse, and placental abruption?
Say learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
That's
Learn about what the true emergencies are.
Yeah.
Decide for yourself in what situations you'd go for assistance. Know what assistance is on offer to you and how to reach that assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so often when we talk to women about knowing what to do and what decision to make, we go through the BRAIN acronym, so benefits, risks, alternatives, intuition, and next or nothing. And I think the I in that is the most important, intuition. And if you're considering that in this current climate, it might take longer for an ambulance to arrive, you might want to listen to those niggly feelings sooner rather than later. You might do a little bit more research on those true emergency situations in order to best prepare yourself for the fact that you might be waiting longer than usual for an ambulance. But also remembering that those situations are not common, that for the most part birth is a normal event. Birth, as you said before, Ellie, birth is birth. Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing as well, in that there isn't that much information out there. So to educate yourself on those things is quite difficult. It's important, which is why, if pre-birth was more supported, women would have the information that they need for those situations.
Yeah.
So definitely try and find the information on those circumstances.
Like what Laurie said, like intuition, it can, the role of that cannot be understated. And when we interfere with birth, that's what we're interfering with. We're interfering with the woman's intuition and the connection between her and her baby. All of the technology that we have to pick up on a baby's well-being cannot compare to the connection between a mother and her baby. If something is wrong, that mom is going to be the first to know. So if you protect that connection and you trust that intuition and you only surround yourself by people who feel the same, then that mum's going to know before anything else could pick up that something is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
We have some more comments, but I can't read them because I don't have my glasses on.
Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. If there was a viable insurance option for midwives at no cost to birthing people, how many do you think would still choose to invite a midwife to their birth rather than free birth due to a lack of service provision? How can we collaboratively push this issue to the forefront of the maternity agenda at this difficult time? That is a huge question. I think right now there are probably a lot of women who would prefer to birth with a midwife, and are deciding that free birth is a better option than going to hospital. Although saying that, I know that there are many women who would free birth whether or not a woman-centered midwife was available to them. So I think this is just more about giving women that information so that they can make their decision based on what's right for them. As far as collaboratively pushing into the front of the maternity agenda, I think there were so many women out there working on this kind of stuff whose focus is on setting up MVPs and talking to higher ups, I have mixed feelings about it, if I'm honest. I think that sometimes positive change happens within NHS maternity services, and it often doesn't stay around for long. That when money is tight, this is the kind of service that gets cut, and we're already seeing it. I've seen a new post every day of a different home birth service that's being cut in order to centralise the resources within local hospitals. So yeah, I suppose I don't really know. I don't know what the answer is as far as ensuring that women have the support of midwives, women-centred midwives at home.
I think it comes down to, for me, it comes down to choice. Like, there will be women who want to free birth no matter what midwifery services are available, and then there'll be women who want the option. Like, and that's what it's about. It's about having all of your options.
Yeah.
And that's how you end up making positive decisions that sit completely right with you, where you can feel really powerful because you've chosen something rather than just run out of options or picking the best of a bad bunch. Actually having everything open to you and going, yeah, I want that thing.
Yeah, and it's also not saying I want this thing or I want this thing. I think that we very rarely, if ever, come across a woman who chooses to free birth at all costs. That she's weighed up all of the information, and she's decided for herself the point at which she would seek assistance if at all. But I think it's not a case of free birth or assistance. It's for many women, it's free birth while my birth is normal, and if my birth becomes a medical event, then I will seek medical assistance. And yeah. Have a look through our other questions. Did we go through we went through the is it safe one, didn't we? That was a we were talking about.
No, nothing. We just went, is it legal?
We could say more about.
Is it safe? I guess again it goes back to intuition. If you're feeling, oh no, I'm running out of battery. If you're feeling safe and undisturbed and you are connected with your baby, that intuition is going to guide you, I guess. And there is nothing that is inherently risky or inherently safe. I think, as you said, birth is birth, and sometimes it becomes a medical event and things go wrong. But it isn't inherently risky.
Yeah, I think
I'm just going to get my charger.
There's definitely a lot of negative discussion around free birth, and that it's just not safe. And there's no data to back that up because of the nature of free birth, I guess. But there's no evidence for that, so it's hard to trust that is the case when everything else about it kind of makes sense, in that you are being undisturbed and unobserved, and you're just feeling safe in your own environment. So yeah, there's very little data on the matter.
I like what Gloria LeMay, the midwife, I think she's Canadian, says about birth, and she says that birth is as safe as life gets. I think that's just
that. Wise woman.
Yeah. But I mean, who gets to define what is safe? So much of free birth is about taking that responsibility and going, it's safe for me.
And that's all we can do in any decision that we make in our lives. I might stand on a chair to get something off a cupboard because I know that I'm safe, but I'm sure Ellie will look at me and go, what the hell are you doing, Laurie? You're going to fall.
It wouldn't be right for me to say you can't do that because of how it makes me feel.
Absolutely, because I've decided that is as safe as it's safe enough for me, and it's a risk worth taking to get the biscuits off the top of the cupboard.
You risk it for a biscuit.
Totally.
But it is personal. Risk is personal. It's not fair to impose all the strange times we live in, because that's not a decision that we feel like
No,
ourselves right now. But
that's so true. But I think even more so when we're having, the current restrictions that we're all living under right now, is a huge infringement on our liberty. It's so important that in this kind of time we protect the rights of birthing women, and give them all of the information that we have available to us, so that they can make a decision that is right for them. They can decide whether or not it's worth it for a biscuit.
Absolutely. Hi, Danny. Hello.
Hi.
Are you waving at her, Ellie?
yeah, that's what I was waving at.
You were waving at that.
And for women who have weighed up the benefits and risks and alternatives and gone, yeah, free birth is the right thing for me, just no one's got any business to say that it's
No,
not. I mean, it's
absolutely
not
not.
okay. It's not okay if it's your friend. It's not okay if it's your mechanic. It's not okay if it's a midwife. If that's a woman who's made an informed choice, then it's nobody's place to tell her otherwise. Just
Absolutely.
because it's not something that you would do, or something that you're not do,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's nobody else's decision.
Nobody.
Nobody questions your decision to go into hospital.
No.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so frustrating when we around the topic of free birth, is that well-meaning individuals are very quick to point out the risks of free birthing and the risks of birthing at home, but I'm yet to see anybody bringing out a list of the risks of going to hospital, of which there are many.
Especially, with a virus around.
Yeah. There are risks associated with everything that we do, and it's about weighing up those risks and then using that information to make a decision that is the best one for you as an individual. And as you said, it's not for anybody to make a judgment on whether or not a woman is making the right choice, because the right choice is the one that she wants to make.
Yeah.
It's just whether it's informed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have the information? Sorry, Amy.
Yeah. No, it's all right. Lots of people are quick to as well jump on and judge and just assume that women haven't weighed up their options, but that completely undermines women's decision making. Like, it's their choice and their responsibility. So I'm pretty sure they've thought about all of the risks and the benefits and the things that could go wrong. They will be thinking about it. Don't people just assume that they're not, and that it's just, oh yeah, that's a good idea. But of course they're weighing it up.
Because nobody cares more about the life of their baby and their own life than the woman herself.
Exactly.
If she has capacity and she has information available to her, we have no right to tell a woman that any decision that she's making is right or wrong. Yeah.
What's the next question?
I think will my birth partner be breaking the law? We kind of covered that before, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did.
Not inherently.
No.
Depends what they do. A partner can be prosecuted for acting in the role of a midwife if he does something medical. Or does something medical.
Who can report them?
Anyone. Yeah. They don't need to have been there. Anyone.
What do I need?
I like what you say about towels, Laurie.
what do I? Oh, that. So you need whatever you have available to you, basically. If you have 30 towels, you'll probably use 30 towels. If you have one towel, you'll make do with one towel. If you needed more than one towel, you'll find other things that you can use. There is no long list of things that you absolutely need to birth your baby at home or without assistance. I guess there's a things you might want list, though. You might want to birth in water, so you might want access to a birth pool, or to be in the shower or in the bath, but it's not a must, is it?
Being in water, if you've not got a pool, but you want to be in the deep water, stick some glue tack over the, or some duct tape over the overflow thing between the taps so you can get a deeper bath.
It's fun to just do that anyway.
I've never tried it.
Anyway.
I think I
will. If you do birth in a pool, something to scoop out the stuff that you don't want to stay in the pool might be helpful. Bucket, put that stuff in. Stuff to help you be cool if you want to be cool. So ice blocks or cold flannels, stuff to help you be warm if you just want to be warmer. So blankets and things like that. But all of this is stuff that most women have in their home anyway.
You don't need special stuff.
No.
We all know a pretty famous guy who was literally born in a barn, who was free birthed in a barn.
It took me a minute to figure out who you were talking about then.
We all know the story, though. It's crazy. We're all told that free birth is dangerous, but also probably the most famous one in the world. And his birth story, which was a free birth.
Which we celebrate every year.
Well, in my own way. Oh, not me personally, just one.
But yeah, I think, birth as an event is miraculous, but birth isn't special. It is something that mammals do all the time, and we don't need anything in order for it to happen. It will happen whether we want it to or not.
And we're women, we're resourceful, we'll find stuff around to get comfy and to be relaxed, and we'll just use what's at hand and we'll repurpose it, and it doesn't need to be special equipment because we'll just make it work. It's our environment, it's where we feel comfortable, it's where we perform our bodily functions. We don't need any help with them. Danny just said something that I like, but I've got my red filter on really.
Oh no.
Should I read it out since you two are blind? My concern with the home birth services being reduced at this time is that more women will be considering free birth from a place of fear. Free birth requires women to feel confident, informed, and trusting of nature. I'm not sure what my question is, but I think this is interesting if women who wouldn't normally choose to free birth are doing so out of fear. I think, yeah, it is interesting. And I don't think all decisions made out of fear are bad. I think that sometimes fear forces us to look more deeply at our choices and to look for more information and to access support, and that is a good thing. Obviously, if a woman is at home and has gone into labour and doesn't feel that she can go to the hospital and doesn't feel that she has any information or support, that is a horrible situation, and we wouldn't wish that upon any woman. But I guess this is an opportunity for women to, if they really do not want to go to hospital and their home birth service has been reduced, that there's an opportunity here for them to be informed, to look, like I said, more deeply at their choices and just get some more information about what options are available to them.
It's not uncommon for a woman who would never have considered a cesarean to suddenly have it presented and suddenly it seemed like the best option, but she's not comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see it on Facebook, we see it in real life. You know, this new thing has happened. This things have taken this turn, and now I believe this is the best thing for me. But I've
Mm-hmm.
never considered it before, and all of a sudden it's happening next week. We don't say to that woman, "Yeah, but you sure you want to do that?" You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's the time when you get to that's your opportunity to learn about it and to
Mm-hmm.
make the best of it so that you do feel comfortable if you know that it's the best thing for you to get the information so
Yeah.
that you so it's the powerful thing for you instead of a fearful thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think back to my own births and being pregnant with my first baby and being told that I wasn't allowed a free birth by midwives. And my decision to stay at home against medical advice was absolutely 100% based on fear. And it was still the best decision I've ever made. And it was the best experience of my life. Don't tell Felix. So, I think I've just seen another comment by Anne. Hi, Anne. I think, yeah, reading and informing oneself can turn to a decision made from a place of trust in your own body and nature. Absolutely.
Yeah. And the more information people have, the less that fear is there. With money.
Yeah. And it might be that women are going, okay, I can't have a home birth supported by midwives. My options are free birth or go to hospital. I'm going to do some more research, and the conclusion of that research is actually hospital is the best place for me to go,
Mm-hmm.
and that again is okay, and it's a woman's um, right to make that choice.
Absolutely. I think with the home birth support services being cut all over the place, like the options, all the options there are not the one that they already chose. So there's going to be
Mm-hmm.
with either of or any of those options because it wasn't what they originally planned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would like to see the NHS look into pulling in more resources, looking into independent midwives, supporting, their services so that they can continue to support home births, so that they can keep birth centres open so that women have all of those options available to them. It really, really sucks that what is a really scary time for everybody, women's options are being limited. It really sucks.
I don't think it's going to help the NHS long term to bring more to traumatize more women
Yeah.
at this time. It's going to take a long time for the NHS to bounce back after the virus, and birth trauma costs the NHS a lot of money, and the results of that and the effects it has on the babies and on the rest of the family and on the relationships and on wider society. It's so short-sighted to that this is the first thing to go, that home birth services is the first thing to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a nice to have. It's not this cherry on top. We're talking about women feeling safe and birthing safely because they feel safe. And I can't really think of anything that's more important than that.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
We had loads of questions on that thing, didn't we? The questions that were on the other side of the chat.
Oh yeah. Well, I think we're on the last one. How do I prepare for a free birth?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I think there are two sides. What am I trying to say? The answer to that question, I think, there's two sides to it. There's the practical, how do I prepare, and the looking for information and finding out about what you need. And then on the other side, I think there's an emotional preparation that I think most women would benefit from looking at before they birth. Looking at what are you bringing to your birth, what preconceptions about birth are you coming with, and how is that going to impact on how you experience birth and the decisions that you make. I feel like that we could just go into that forever, though.
We can talk about it tomorrow.
But I'm not sure that preparing for a free birth is any different to preparing for any other kind of birth, in that looking at all of the it's very personal, I suppose, how someone prepares. I know that there are some women out there who, in preparing for a free birth, would want to look at all of the medical emergencies in each scenario and what they would do in each scenario, and be quite prepared in that way. And there are other women whose approach is just going to be to trust their body, to trust nature, and to trust that they will know if they need assistance.
Yeah, you birth as you live.
Yeah. I can hear your dog.
Sorry, she's a snorer.
I like listening to her.
This is a subject that we could talk about a lot, and it's something that we're happy to revisit and to come back to. This isn't the only time that we're gonna be answering questions or want to talk about it. So it's World Doula Week, and every week we're going to talk about a different thing.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
But every day this week we're going to talk a host 8. We're going to take questions.
I think you like froze a bit, Ellie.
You've gone a bit fuzzy.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. You said I think I can't remember why you froze, but you said we were going to talk about a different topic every day, and and I'm sure you were saying some really wise things.
Actually, I was kind of waffling, and I'm glad that it froze. I was just saying that this isn't the only opportunity that we'll have to discuss free birth and to also answer questions. We're going to be here every day at 8:30, and we'll talk about any subject, and it's okay to revisit this one as much as you want. If you want to talk to us privately about it, then get in touch and we can have a private video chat, because we all have, quite a lot of time on our hands at the moment, and whether or not we are talking to pregnant women about it, we're going to be talking to each other about it, because it's all we do. So yeah, you're welcome to get in touch to book a discussion privately with us, or to put questions to us to talk about another day.
We've got another comment. Laurie, could you read it?
A few. Danny said, there's discussion in process about independent midwives being pulled into support. I'll keep you posted when I know more. And I hope there's a societal shift from this pandemic in how we view the role of hospital in physiological birth. That would be wonderful. It really would. It really would. Antonia said, I think it's important to talk about free birth as another valid option for birthing. There needs to be less taboo surrounding it so women don't feel worried to talk to their midwives about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think women are afraid to talk to their midwives about considering free birth, and because so many women are told that it's illegal, or that or are threatened with referrals to social services. So I think on one hand, kind of getting rid of that taboo is about talking about it more, and on the other hand, it is the system having a respect for a woman's right to choose and a woman's reproductive freedom. And fortunately, that's not something that it's something that I will continue shouting for, but it's not something that I have the power to do much about, other than to keep supporting women in this way, to keep giving women information.
The thing about, when something like this isn't supported, then you know, it's a taboo and it's pushed to the side, but then women are still going to choose it.
Mm-hmm.
So who is that damaging? It's if you don't give women the information, then you're making it unsafe. So we need to, you know, give information, support women, and then
Definitely.
As long as she feels like she can't talk about it because it's a taboo, she's not just not talking to a midwife, she's not talking to her friends, she's not talking to her partner. She can just have secret plans to just do it herself, and that doesn't help her. She's she's going to feel ashamed. She's going to not feel as supported as she could. So it's just really important that if somebody talks to you about it, if somebody confides that in to you, it shows that they really trust you and that they really care about your opinion. And no matter what it is, no matter what, whether it's free birth or something else, like, don't shut those conversations down. Be interested, be curious, be honored that somebody shared something so personal with you. If you don't know what to say, don't say anything. That's okay. People will just think you're a really good listener. That's my secret.
Also, having that that taboo and not being supported could affect women's decisions around asking for help when or if something does change during birth. That accessing help and support could be, you know, their decision to do that could be affected by not feeling supported. It's important.
Yeah, and I think that when that happens, and if women do seek assistance, I think I've witnessed and heard stories of women who are then not honest with when they do seek assistance. They're not honest about when they birth their baby or of information that actually might help a healthcare professional to make recommendations, and that is dangerous for everybody involved, but at least not that woman and her baby. And I know that women do that because they're afraid. They're afraid that they're going to be judged. They're afraid that they're going to be punished. And yeah, that isn't okay. Antonia said, absolutely, Ellie, this was how I felt when I was pregnant with my third. I didn't free birth in the end, but all my plans were secret. I'm really sorry that you felt you had to keep those plans secret, because we should feel supported. We should be able to share our plans and know that whilst others might not agree, that they will support us, that they trust us to make the right call for ourselves and for our babies. Yeah, it makes me feel really sad that women feel that they have to hide their plans to do something that is 100% what we're made to do. I think we've come to the end of our questions.
Yeah, we've definitely come to the end of the ones that we wrote. If anyone has any more questions, fire away. But yeah, we've talked quite a lot.
We did all right, considering.
Yeah. We're getting better.
I didn't cough too much.
I've been holding one back.
Yeah. Anyway, this was a nice break from being isolated from the world.
Yeah. Always nice to see your lovely faces.
Yeah.
So, same time, same place tomorrow? What are we going to talk about tomorrow?
Yeah, if anyone has any suggestions on what we should talk about tomorrow,
let's
put them in the comments. Otherwise, I'm sure we'll figure something out 5 minutes before.
Did we say something before that we were going to talk about tomorrow?
I just said because it was World Doula Week, we were going to talk about a different topic every day, but I can't remember if we committed to it.
I do. Let's talk more later or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but following today, maybe we'll just put on our Facebook some good resources.
Yeah,
Nikki to put on about the
AIMS.
Yeah.
the AIDS
Link to
free birth.
AIMS.
Yeah, there's one on the birthrights as well. Like any resources we can think of, we'll make a little free birth thread.
Kathy's
on our
just said,
Facebook.
any stories of fathers' experiences of free birth? I would love it if any dads out there have an experience that they want to share. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And if said fathers want to write something for us to share, great. If they want to join us for one of our 8:30 chats, we need a name for them, but that would be great, because
yeah,
in my experience, even if the fathers, sometimes they didn't even know that it was going to be a free birth. Sometimes they did, and they were super scared. But in my experience, 100% of the times, the dads have become actually quite vocal about what a great experience it was, and how they were able to participate in ways that they wouldn't have necessarily otherwise been able. How included they were, how it was such a family event. So, but I would like to hear any stories about it, not just the super great ones.
Send
That's
any
my
free
experience.
birthing fathers our way.
Yeah, Kathy, if you know any, hit Cliff on.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to add, or shall we sum up what we've said? Or
Bagsy, not summing up. I'm too tired to remember all of that. Take it away, Amy.
I'm sure I said it before, Ellie. Okay, in summary, free birth is a valid choice and it's legal. That's the summary basically.
And you have everything that you need.
Yeah, you don't need anything special or extra.
And I would add that there is a really big community of free birthing women in Manchester. Okay, maybe not really big, but there is a really supportive community of free birthing women in Manchester, so, and the Northwest. So if you want to talk to other women who have free birthed and want to, I'm sure they'd be happy to pass on any resources and support and share their experiences.
And if you want to join the free birth group, then we did have a free birth group specifically so that we could meet every month, and we're going to take that online now, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a really big community, but it's probably surprisingly big, considering that most people think that it's just this 1 in a million rare thing. It's not.
Something that really radical hippies do.
And it happens more than anybody knows, because it's such a taboo. Oh, the baby just came really quick. Nah, you knew before you were even pregnant how you were going to give birth to that baby. But I can understand why women do that, because if you say I'm going to give birth without a midwife, some people will talk you out of it. They'll tell you that you're crazy. But if you have your story of, oh, the baby was just born really quick. Oh, wow, you're such a hero. Oh, you're so brave. And the story is completely different. And I get it. I get why you would tell the story that way. Even to yourself. Anyway, we're getting back into it, and that wasn't my intention.
We could talk all night, I'm sure. Right, I'm going.
All right, let's go.
Awesome to chat, guys.
Great. See you tomorrow.
Bye.